he'll out recruit everyone in the ACC, and they'll be one of the top two teams in the conference every year. They'll be in a bowl. He'll make more money for the school. They'll build new dorms, and then they'll put a statue of him outside.
On today's Throwdown Thursday edition of the Odd Coaches Podcast, Dr. Adams and the OCP team of correspondents preview HBCUs as well as give their preseason predictions in advance of the 2022 college football season. Welcome to today's show. The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Greetings and salutations and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today is my tag team partner. There's no beef, by the way, fans. The Swerve Strickland to my Keith Lee in AEW. The icon, the showstopper, the main event, and the reason why we are here, Coach Mike Francis. And Coach, can you tell the world there's no beef? How you doing, man? 5 people got the joke, and actually it's probably more than 5, but I don't think there's beef. It's all business.
Who's beefing? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Exactly.
That nobody's beefing, man. It's too much money and stuff out here to be beefing over.
Yes, indeed.
Everybody's happy. As
Prince said once, it's just rock and roll, baby. It's just rock and roll.
Business, baby. You ain't too far gone to see that.
So on this Throwdown Thursday edition, we're going to preview the HBCUs first. And then we're going to talk about some college football on and off field issues. And then we're going to do our season picks, and we will be putting money down. I got notes ready for my partner, and this has been fun, man. So we started together, and we're going to end the college football previews together. So let's talk HBCU football. We're not going through each conference. We're only going through the top 5 and then some other teams to watch, but we're going to give them some love. So our number one HBCU football team is Jackson State, sir. They're from the SWAC. They were 12-2 last year, but don't forget they did not win the HBCU championship. Mm-hmm. So Jackson State enters the season as top-ranked team. They went undefeated in the SWAC before losing in the Celebration Bowl, and Dion's got plenty of talent. Any thoughts about Jackson State, Dion? What's he doing? Floor is yours, sir.
Well, he just added Zimmer as a consultant down there. Guy was head coach at the Minnesota Vikings for so many years and been in the NFL for a long time. I think the biggest upgrades he's making is in that staff and in the facilities and operations of the program to make it on par with these other non-HBCU programs. And I think so you're getting quality teaching, you're getting a quality meal table, you're getting quality training and conditioning because they have the equipment necessary, they have the facilities are getting better. So I see Jackson State. Not only that, I see, following them on Instagram, so many NFL scouts and the people working for these NFL teams are at their practices, and Coach Prime allows them to go through the drills. Like he told the coaches the other day, don't stand on the sideline. I want you to come out and see him, stand in line. I need you to come and find the truth so you can go back and tell it on the mountain. I want you to know everything about our kids. So, yeah, I think he's showing a different approach to getting it done. And I think if more schools follow that, the HBCU divisions and teams and clubs will definitely improve.
Mike, I am so glad you mentioned the hiring of better coaches. And again, this is no slight, but if you got a chance to get a former NFL head coach on your staff, you bring that in and you bring that approach to your kids. And the fact that money is not a factor is tremendous for Jackson State in terms of people are willingly coming to Jackson, Mississippi,
because of
and
Dion.
wanting to work because of Dion. So, and we talk all the time, recruiting's a 40-year relationship, not a 4.
Mhm.
A lot of these relationships go back to when Dion was a player.
Yes.
And we're beneficiaries of that on this show. So many people want to help us because it's us.
Mhm.
Coach, what you need? We got you. So we appreciate that. So number 2 is Florida A&M. They're in the SWAC. They were 9-3 last year. They're coming off an FCS playoff appearance. They got players too. Um, they got an Iowa State transfer, so they're getting better. And I will get to see Florida A&M in person when they
Mhm.
play the University of North Carolina this coming Saturday.
Mhm.
North Carolina was kind enough to provide myself and my wife a couple of tickets. We were going to take the franchise, but he's locked up too. I mean, when I say he's on assignment, fans, he's on assignment. But looking forward to seeing him in person. The University of North Carolina is doing a big HBCU festival, all types of stuff. So I get to hear the band as well. I don't know if you've even peeked at FAMU, sir. Any thoughts on FAMU?
No, I saw a little bit on FAMU other than Jackson. FAMU's the only one I looked at. I
Mm-hmm.
want to take some time and dive into South Carolina State as well because, traditionally that's one of the better programs.
And let's
Uh,
jump into that because
yes.
South Carolina State is the third preseason HBCU. They're in the MEAC. They're 7-5 from last year, but they're the defending
Yep.
Celebration Bowl and
Yep.
MEAC champions.
Yep.
They play a good schedule every year,
Mm-hmm.
and they about bringing the wood. And they hit people. And I believe their best defensive back is in the league now.
Yes.
So, any thoughts on South Carolina State?
I think the South Carolina State again will be the challenge to Jackson State for the title. I think that they got they're steep, they're very very steep with the tradition, man. Like going back, so many NFL guys originally African American players came through South Carolina State, to get into the league. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that they're just one of the best as far as tradition too. They have more tradition than Jackson.
Is this when I make my annual pitch to UMES to bring back football, or do I wait till that? Okay. Okay. Sorry
It's
about
not
that.
gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Number
Shit,
4 is
they only got they got basketball, but they don't got basketball. What are you talking about?
it's my fault. So number 4 is Alabama A&M. They are also in the SWAC, 7-3 last year, and they 2 names to follow: running back Gary Quarles and wide receiver Abdul Fattah Ibrahim. They're 2 of the best in the HBCUs, and hopefully they're on somebody's draft board or at least scout list. And then 5, North Carolina A&T, and wait for it, North Carolina A&T is in the Big South. They were 5-6 last year. That was the first losing season they've had since 2011. But again, it was the first time they played in the Big South. So there is some time to bridge in terms of competition. So they're scheduled to have a bounce back season, and they're preseason favorite to win the conference. Any thoughts on A&T making that move to the Big South, first of all? And second, have you even peeked at them a little bit?
No, I haven't peeked at them at all. Congratulations on them moving to the Big South. I mean, that sounds like a positive move for them as far as enrollment and shares financially to make the school better. So,
Yeah. Some other teams to watch, fans. We won't be going into detail, but Alcorn State's in the SWAC, Southern's in the SWAC, North Carolina Central's in the MEAC, Tennessee State. I believe Eddie George is the coach there. They're in
yes,
the
sir.
Ohio Valley Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And Prairie View A&M is in the SWAC. But we're going to close this segment with a couple of questions that I want to give my partner's thoughts on. Question 1, Mike, can Dion's blueprint work long term? How long will Dion still be there? Because Power Fives are going to call him. They've already called him. I forgot who he turned down.
Mm-hmm.
But is this long term or is this short term? What do you think, sir?
I think he is trying to position it to where when he leaves, it remains the same, but it's going to be different because everybody's not going to want to be as attached and work with the program if he is not there. There's been reports that before this season is over, he will be named the head coach at Florida State before spring season starts. That guy's they're just waiting for that guy to drop the ball. They'll bring Deion back. He'll be able to recruit players and turn it around wherever he goes, even if it's not Florida State. But yeah, I think that it can work long term. Maybe not at Jackson, but it could work long term somewhere else where the resources are going to be there.
And he does have the angle, if I'm booking the press conference, of if it was anywhere else, I wouldn't have gone. But because it's Florida State and I was so close to the Bowden family, blah, blah, blah. That's why I feel comfortable making the move. Plus, ACC football is terrible. Just keep him in the ACC, and you got.
Yeah, and he'll be able to out-recruit. He'll out-recruit everyone in the ACC, and they'll be one of the top 2 teams in the conference every year. They'll be in a bowl. He'll make more money for the school. They'll build new dorms, and then they'll put a statue of him outside.
Yeah. All right. So, second question: can the MEAC survive, or should HBCUs have a super conference? What do you think, man? Because that is a legitimate question.
Super conference. I think if you see everyone's going to super conferences, because I potentially see eventually I see a break off of the Power Five and having their own little thing. And that's why everybody's trying to get to the mega conferences.
Man. Mm-hmm. So I think the HBCU should follow the SEC model. I do. That still makes me sad for the MEAC. And that's why every year you'll hear me say, I wish UMES would bring back football, because the MEAC keeps losing teams. And the SWAC keeps getting better, but South Carolina State winning last year was a good thing, I thought, because at the end of the day, it's still about winning championships.
I think it's our self-righteousness that hurts us in the MEAC. I think it is.
Yeah.
I think we have too many people who are I'm trying to say this properly.
But good Marshall ain't walking through that door.
Right. Is that, so I understand that we weren't educated properly outside of HBCUs to begin with. And I think that these conferences, the schools, they feel like that they don't want football. They don't want sports. They don't want us to be known as the sports to be the only thing of our life. But all these other universities have been built up. They've generated so much money. People are doing better because they have more students because of the athletics. It's research shows the increase in applications after a university wins a national championship. They go up like 30% or something as far as applications. So you're generating money. And I don't think the MEAC and HBCUs combined, I don't think they invest enough in athletics to that level. And I can understand them trying to just increase and be a support for all students and minority students. But I think if they put more emphasis and generated more money or committed more money to athletics, it could be the best conference because Deion's showing you.
Yeah. And think about what they could have similar to the Big Ten. And what I mean by that is if everybody in HBCUs got together in one super conference and the BET networks, said, we're going to invest in athletics. So now you got BET, you got BET Plus, you got your cable because they already got a agreement with Amazon.
Yeah.
There's just a different way to think about it. And oftentimes in our side conversations, we talk about academics and athletics. And one of the things CKA talks about all the time is bringing an athletic mindset to academics to say we can do both. And we can do both very well.
And they don't believe it because they haven't played sports. But if you can imagine some of the games and matchups you can have when you make that super conference, you have Auburn and Alabama. Not, you know what I mean? When it comes to matchups, if you got HBCUs, you can book those. Then you got almost I know we got the CIAA tournament, but you could almost do that every week.
Yeah. And then you could have the pods for the travel piece, and keep Alabama and A&M and Grambling and all that. That's 114 pod, and then you can do the 3 and 6 that the SEC's doing. But I digress. Last question: Can North Carolina A&T in the Big South, Tennessee State in the Ohio Valley, and Hampton in the CAA, can they represent? Because it is no longer, to date myself, the Chitlin circuit. You are playing teams all over. Can they represent? What do you think, sir?
I think it's going to take longer for Tennessee State in the Ohio Valley. That's a very, very good conference. North Carolina A&T, maybe one recruiting class with the Big South. Hampton, I think Hampton can step into the CAA and represent. I think the CAA is right at that level. I think the talent that Hampton can get, and that talent they will get now being associated with outside of the MEAC conference, I think that Hampton and A&T will definitely be the first two to represent in that conference.
All right, so fans, when we get back, it's kickoff time. We are going to start digging into college football as we get ready for week 0 on the Odd Coaches podcast. Why they call that thing week 0?
There is an old business adage that says, what gets measured and monitored gets done. It is also fact that deadlines spur action. That is what the CKA Save Project Academic Monitoring Service can do for student athletes. Measure and monitor their academic progress to improve their grades. Our academic monitoring services provide ongoing academic support for student athletes for a designated period of time. Our academic success coaches work with student athletes on time management and organizational skills, along with improving their ability to self-advocate. Every few weeks, our academic success coaches meet with student athletes to assess their academic progress, as well as provide ongoing academic advising. If needed, student athletes have access to CKA Learning Specialists who provide virtual core subject academic support for student athletes. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 2, we're going to do our preseason top 5. And for those who are longtime followers of the show, we focus on who's going to be in the national championship picture. My partner is all about titles. So, yeah, we'll talk about teams across the country, all of that. But every week when we get to this segment is who's going to be in the playoffs, because at the end of the day, that's what we're playing for. So preseason OCP top 5 for my partner to either say yay or nay. Alabama's number 1. Ohio State's number 2. Georgia's number 3. Clemson's number 4. And Utah is number 5. On the outside looking in, Notre Dame for 1 week, NC State, and Oklahoma. And again, our focus is top 5 in terms of the college football playoffs. So, Mike, let me justify before you make fun of me. Alabama's going to be one of the 2 teams in the SEC. I think the SEC is going to get 2 teams in. So, Alabama, Georgia. Okay. I think Ohio State is the cream of the crop in the Big Ten, and they're going to get those wins, and they're going to be in. I think Clemson's the best team in the ACC. And I think they're going to win enough games that they're going to hang around. And Utah's the one that's everybody's going to look at me sideways. The Pac-12 is not very good. Okay. Real talk. They're not good. But Utah's better than the rest of them bums. And they're going to be undefeated, I think. And you're not going to keep an undefeated Pac-12 team out. You're not. So that's why I got them in. And again, Notre Dame, everybody loves them, but they're going to be 9-3. But early in the season, since they're in the top whatever, they're going to be on the outside looking in until they lose, and then they're out of here. They keep telling me NC State's supposed to be good and can compete against Clemson. I'll see it. That's why I put them in there. And Oklahoma, somebody from the Big 12's got to hang around. May as well be there. So, what do you think, sir?
Of course, Alabama and Georgia 1 and 2. That's guaranteed. You know how I am about Ohio State and Michigan. They're all the same to me. It's storylines they have to have. They have to be ranked. Clemson, they will be the best team in the ACC. Dabo Swinney has built that and established that they are the best team in the ACC right now, will be ACC champions. Utah had, I don't know, this your project Cincinnati. Is that what you're doing again?
The Pac-12's bad. It's bad, and they're going to run through the Pac-12. So an undefeated Power 5 conference champion, you're not going to leave them out. You can't.
Who ain't gonna leave them out?
The CFP will not leave them out.
Okay.
If they're undefeated, they're not going to leave them out. If they lose a game, then it's their fault.
So you're saying even if they're undefeated, you think they're better than the 4 you listed before? You think they'll get in before a one loss of the other team?
Notice I didn't say better. I'm talking political, because
politically, one loss. If all them other 4
if they lose a team, if they lose a game, they're out. But if they go undefeated, if Utah loses a game, they're out. But if they go undefeated, you can't keep them out.
I'll take a one loss Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama over an undefeated Utah any day.
Well, we will find out if that happens.
You just said the Pac-12 conference was some booty.
Trash. It's straight trash.
You're right. If it's bad, then like that doesn't. What happened to quality?
And when Oregon comes across the country and gets waxed, when all these Pac-12 teams come play these other schools, wax. But undefeated is undefeated.
Alabama and Georgia, both of them are going to have one loss because they're going to play in the SEC championship game. Yep. So that get rid of that one loss for them. And you can say the same thing about Ohio State. You know what
Ohio State's not losing in the Big 12. Big 10, man.
You never know when it comes to, Big 10 championship, all those games, man, you never know.
Iowa's still slow.
Iowa?
They're still slow, man.
Yeah, true.
All right. So, fans, we've got a big question for each of the Power 5 conference and the independents that I want my partner to answer. So, Mike, in the ACC, can anyone other than Clemson win this thing?
No.
Okay. But North Carolina State's supposed to be good.
Next question.
Okay. In the American, who will last the longest in the national conversation? I'm going to say Houston, sir, not Cincinnati this year.
I don't know. Well, I would say Cincinnati.
Okay. All right. Big 10 question. Is Ohio State good enough to win the national championship? Because I think they're the best team in the Big 10, but we have seen since the CFP started and even the BCS, when those teams start playing other folks outside of like 2012 or whatever it was when they won, it's a whooping. It's not even a ball game.
Yeah.
So are they good enough to win the whole blasted thing?
They're not good enough to win the whole thing. Winning that Big 10 is like saying I got the highest score out of everybody who failed the test.
Okay. Big 12. Can the Big 12 get into the CFP mix this year? Can Oklahoma hang around long enough to sneak into Big 12?
No.
Notice I didn't say Texas.
No.
All right. So, independence, strictly for entertainment purposes only. Will BYU win more games than Notre Dame as an independent?
Probably because of the schedule. Notre Dame's schedule is a little more. I know they got the Academy tour, but outside of the Academy tour, Notre Dame's schedule is a little tougher than BYU.
Okay. Pac-12. Can the Pac-12 get to the CFP mix this year? I think Utah can get them in because USC is going to lose some games.
I don't think so.
Okay. SEC. Here we go, sir. Alabama is good. Georgia is good. My question is about Texas A&M, LSU, Ole Miss, UK, and Arkansas. Who's the third best team in the SEC?
Third best team in the SEC? Third best
remember, the third best team's going to go to the Sugar Bowl because Alabama and Georgia are going to be in the CFP. So third best team's going to go.
Who cares? Who wants to be third? I'm not talking about the third best team.
But it's the SEC, baby. It's the SEC.
What is there a trophy for that now? I don't know. Third best.
That trophy's called the Sugar Bowl.
Okay. All right. Third best team, maybe Texas A&M.
Jimbo's gonna lose 3 games. So it won't be Texas A&M, won't be LSU. It will be between Ole Miss, Kentucky, and Arkansas. That's
My
my
man
prediction.
Lane Kiffin getting it done, man.
Yes, he is. All right, we've got some off-field stuff to talk about. Big Ten sets a new bar. The Big Ten just completed the long talked about media rights agreement. So now, Mike, the Big Ten for 7 years will be on Fox, CBS, and NBC every Saturday, along with the Big Ten Network. And that's going to bring in more than $7 billion. Okay. The deal begins July 1st and runs through the 29-30 season. Okay. Now, CBS is still carrying the SEC next season and will only air 7 Big Ten contests. But then after that, the money goes up from CBS. The Big Ten is projected to eventually distribute $80 to $100 million a year to each of its 16 members. That's going to help us because the local team is the University of Maryland. And if you've driven through College Park recently, you've seen some upgrades.
Oh
And
my
as
God.
somebody moving near College Park, don't think that wasn't strategically done.
Yo, Route 1 don't even look the same no more. Like,
All 3 networks will air the Big Ten championship in the future. And they get the primetime game on Saturday night. So what are your thoughts as we've covered this throughout? So congratulations to both of us. Any thoughts on that Big Ten new deal, man?
big time for the schools that's involved. You know, let's just throw out this they do it for education thing, and they should be happy getting a free education. Again, I'll continue to say that. But yeah, Route 1 looks like the campus is just expanding. They're coming down Route 1 now with more apartments for students, like all the way down Route 1. So the money is it's going to be good for them. It's going to help each university with students. It's going to help the TV. 7 billion is 7 billion. Like I don't care how you break it up. That's a lot of money.
All right. Second thing off the field is the Pac-12 on the ropes. The departures of USC and UCLA could mean an estimated loss of about $13 million per year. USC will cost an estimated almost $10 million or 30% of the conference media rights. UCLA is about 10% or 3.25 million. So now they're trying to change the rules that says if you're trying to leave, you got to do all this extra reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Pac-12 on the ropes, man?
Pac-12 is where it's always been. It's a problem for the Pac-12. It's not like we're not in the 80s and 90s anymore. The Pac-12 hasn't been relevant for a long, long time, and these schools know that, and they're trying to jump out ever since Pete Carroll left USC.
Wow. Okay. So let's talk about the worldwide leader, the mothership, the ESPN folks. Without a Big Ten deal, here's what's going on with ESPN. They have money now. Big 12 is in need of a partner, and the Pac-12 is in need of a partner, broadcast partner. And think about it. ESPN likes to show games at noon, likes to show games at 3:30, likes to show games at 8, but there's a fourth window after 10. Pac-12 after dark gets a lot of jokes, but it cleans up a lot of TV. And you've been on the West Coast or Vegas with that last game. People still bet on that last game. So should ESPN do what ESPN has allegedly done in the past and make those side conversations to the Pac-12 and the Big 12 and say, look, Oregon, Washington, can we work together with the Big Ten? What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I think that should be the approach of the ESPN. They should definitely invest in trying to get involved in that conference because everyone else is seeming to try to get away from them. I still think CBS got the best thing going with the SEC. I don't care what nobody else say. I'll watch the 2 worst SEC football teams play over the 2 best in the Pac-12 conference.
Yeah, but remember the SEC deal goes to ESPN after next season.
Then the ESPN need to just invest their money in the SEC. Stay
Yeah, they
with
need
the
that
SEC.
10 o'clock window, though. They need
Nah,
that
man.
fourth window.
Now we can put another show on that. They can hire us to do the 10 o'clock show. We
I'll
could
go.
do we could do a recap of the college football day at 10 p.m.
As only we can do, to quote the Nature Boy. All right, so breaking away from the NCAA, 61% of Power Five schools support establishing their own division. Okay.
They're going to.
And this was a survey that was done by the Knight Commission, who does outstanding work. The survey also revealed that less than half of respondents support FBS separating. So should the Power Five be their own thing, since the NCAA doesn't get any of the bowl money anyway? Should the FCS do their own thing? And we already talked about HBCUs doing their own thing. So what do you think, Mike?
Definitely. I think that the Power Fives are going to break off. They should break off. And I think it allows them to do things a little differently. We see so many restrictions from what was old and so much gatekeeping. And, as we progress and as time changes, technology gets better, there needs to be change in how we do things. We should not keep holding those Power Five schools who invest so much money in the program to the same standards as schools who will not put money into their programs. Like, that's just the way I see it. Like, there's a seriousness about SEC football that not maybe the same in some of the other conferences. And not only that, that's what drives the recruiting. Like, good players aren't going to go to bad schools that are not on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just not going to happen. Good players are going to go to the better schools that have the better facilities, that have better notoriety, and that NIL is going to be able to be enhanced by the way that they perform. That's it. Don't nobody care about Alcorn State. I'm not going to, no offense, but Alcorn State, Prairie View, I'm not going if I'm a top athlete when I can go to one of the other schools, even one of the worst schools in a bigger conference. It still gives me the visibility and the visibility that I want to make it to the professional ranks.
All right, and let's give our audience some context. The last time the NCAA separated into divisions in football was 1978, when Division I became Division 1A, which is now FBS, and Division 1AA is now FCS. The reasons then are the reasons now, and history gives you the answers to all the questions. The largest schools want more financial and governance autonomy because they want money. And Mike says it all the time. It's all about money. And quite frankly, the NCAA has some problems. Leaders in these power conferences have become increasingly upset with the NCAA's role in college athletics, and COVID did it. So I want you to think about it. Last year, everybody was mad at the Big Ten, and they were making fun of Kevin. Or about 2 years ago, I'm saying, when COVID hit. Now they just signed a $7 billion contract. Nobody's bringing that up. Kevin's doing a great job. The group of five, man, there's just a growing divide between those schools and the Power Five. And some want to jump on with the Power Five, and some just say, what are we doing? So with that,
I'm getting it done.
No, and that's why the Project Cincinnati thing was such a big deal, because not everybody's going to have that situation in terms of the super seniors. As we get to the football piece, all right, you guys were old last year. You had guys playing their 6th, 7th year football. That's going to happen once every 5-10 years. So that's not sustainable. But Alabama, whether Nick Saban's there or not, it's going to roll because SEC is going to have money. But the thing the Big Ten has that no one else has right now is a window to catch up, because that money's coming in right now. That 80 to 100 million is coming in right now, and the SEC's TV contract's not up for some time. So if you guys don't put the resources in now, when the SEC renegotiates their deal, if the Big Ten got $7 billion, what's the SEC going to command on the open market?
Yeah, so Big Ten is planting that seed, trying to get ahead of the SEC.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Big Ten might get another bite at the apple before the SEC has its rights. I'm not sure about that, but these next 3 years are going to be a big deal. And Iowa still is in Iowa, and the snow's still coming. So I don't know what more you can do to make it appealing. but we'll see what happens, and we'll be right back on the Odd Coaches podcast.
The reviews are in for Dr. Keith Adams' book, Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. College professor and student-athlete academic expert Dr. Lisa Rubin said, "There is nothing out there like this book, so I do hope people will pay attention and give it a read." Former George Mason standout Fowler Campbell said, "Consider this book an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Adams, just like I did. I assure you that there will be something you can take away that will be useful to you throughout your personal journey." Ryan Waite, a recent college graduate who is a software engineer, said, "I like how the book is based on research, which makes it good for general students as well as student athletes." The book serves as both a memoir to Dr. Adams' 30-year academic and athletic career, as well as an instructional guide to assist student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators navigate through the challenges of finding a better balance between academic and athletic success. The book includes over 15 personal stories and anecdotes from Dr. Adams, along with numerous former players and colleagues from a variety of sports and endeavors. You can order your copy at www.ckasaveproject.org. From the main page, simply click CKA Save Project Services and order the Find the Balance book. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast, and this is strictly for entertainment only purposes. Strictly for entertainment purposes. So we bet, and the magic bet is $10. So we're going to do 10 season-long win total bets. So which one should the OCP do? So Mike, you're my partner, and we're going to go on what you say, because it's my money anyway. So ACC, we're going to pick 2, fans. I'm going to give him 5. He's going to pick 2, and we're going to put the money down and follow it all year. Clemson over 10.5. Miami over 8.5. NC State over 8.5. Pitt over 8.5. And North Carolina over 7.5. And thank you again for your hospitality, North Carolina. Mike, which 2 are we going to put down for over/under totals?
NC State
over 8.5.
Yeah, NC State over 8.5. Clemson over 10.5.
All right, we will do that. Moving on to the American, we're going to pick 1. Cincinnati over 9 wins. Houston over 9 wins. Mike, which one are we picking, sir? Houston over 9 wins. I'll put a star there. Big Ten, we're going to pick 2. Here are the bets. Nebraska under 7.5. Iowa over 7.5. Michigan over 9.5. Ohio State over 11 wins. Penn State over 8.5. Trying to make money, folks. Mike, what are you thinking?
Nebraska under 7.5. And
come on, man. It's Ohio State over 11. Who are they playing? They're not playing anybody.
Yeah, but I Penn State over 8.5. That's 9 wins. Penn State, 9 wins, definitely. I think they can win 9 games. I think Penn State can win 9 games in the conference. Like, honestly, that's
well, they don't have to win them in the conference. They only
they're going to
overall.
clean up. Yeah, they're going to clean up in in the preseason. They'll clean up in the preseason early, and then they. So I would say they only have to win 6 games in conference 7 games, because 3 of them, 2 or 3 they'll win out of conference. They'll win 2 out of conference. So then they got to win 7. So
all
yeah.
Right. Okay, Big 12, we're picking 1. Baylor over 8, Kansas over 3, and Texas under 9. Which one are we picking?
Kansas over 3.
Thank you. See? I still want that Ohio State bet, but nope. I ain't got no extra money. We're no budget.
Yeah, you can. I mean,
no, it's no budget productions, baby.
Check it out.
No extra.
You got you pick who was that in there? Who did you take in there?
That's the only one I wanted.
I'll take the Nebraska one. You take the Ohio State. We split it down the middle. How about that?
Sold to the Brooklanders.
All right. I'll take the Nebraska under 7.5.
So. All right. So you're gonna slide a 10 eventually?
Yeah.
Inside joke, fans.
I'll cash at you.
All right. Independence. I think you mentioned this, but now that you got the numbers in front, you might want to change your mind. Pick one. BYU over 7.5, Notre Dame over 8.5. I don't think Jake wants to get us mad at him. So which one are we picking?
I'll take BYU over 7.5.
Woo! Wee! I think Notre Dame gonna win 9, man.
Well, it's only 3 academies, so Notre Dame.
Right. Sorry, Jake. Mike said BYU. I ain't gonna fight him.
There's only 3 academies, so when do they play each other?
I don't know, man. All right, SEC pick 2. We're picking 2. Alabama over 11. Arkansas over 7. Florida over 7. Don't pick that one. Georgia over 11.5. Ole Miss over 7.5. South Carolina over 6. You're picking 2. Which 2 do you want, sir?
Ole Miss and South Carolina.
Ole Miss and South Carolina. All right. So Ole Miss over 7.5. South Carolina over 6. Okay. Finally, Pac-12, Arizona over 2.5, or Utah over 9 wins. Yes, sir. We got a show to do. Now I know what secretly I want Arizona because 3 wins, baby.
3 wins. If they can't win 3 games, they don't need to be in football.
Give me that Desert Storm. Okay, we're gonna go Arizona.
You need to put 100 on that one.
All right, so fans, beginning next week, you'll hear we're going to pick 10 picks per week. Okay. Wow. It's $10. My wife doesn't care. And the money has been allocated. So we're going to have a game of the week. Okay. And we're going to have Coach Franchise pick a game of the week, have myself pick a game of the week using the point spread. So that's 2 bets. And then we're going to do an over-under. Coach Franchise will pick an over-under game. Dr. Adams will pick an over-under game. That's 4. And then we're going to do a 2-play of the week. Franchise 2 picks a game, and I pick a game. That's 6. And then we're going to do a 3-play of the week. And then we're going to do a money line pick of the week. And I'm thinking underdogs myself, but hey. So every week in segment 3, strictly for entertainment purposes only, we are going to put our money where our mouths are. And over the course of the season, we hope to win enough because it gets donated right on back to CKA so we can get books out to everybody. Because if the state of Maryland can use the lottery for education, so can we. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. So nobody gets mad at us because that lottery money and the sports betting money is supposed to go back to education. That's what's supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. But we can't get online gambling yet. Coach, any thoughts as we go into week 0? And fans, we are not picking on any week 0 games because I didn't see anything that's worth my $10. So this week, we're going to put our season totals down. At some point, I will be at wherever to do that. And then we'll move on. And Mike and I are trying to figure out a spot to go to and a day of the week to do it. But we're very excited about all of this. We've put in a lot of time and effort. Mike, any thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, week 0, you shouldn't waste any money on week 0. I mean, it is what it is.
Have you seen the week 0 games? I have. That's why I asked you that. What is this? So next week is our kickoff of week 1 of college football. All of the things you liked. First segment is what Coach Francis saw, what I saw. Segment 2, we'll start doing some extra breakdown. And then segment 3, we're back to strictly for entertainment purposes only. Very excited about all of this. So on behalf of my tag team partner, Coach Mike Francis, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast. And we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.